Okay, so when I say the word dementia, what's the first thing that pops into your head? It's memory loss, right? Forgetting names, getting confused. But what if the brain sends out a warning signal much, much earlier? A kind of silent signal that has absolutely nothing to do with what we remember.
And that one question, honestly, could change everything. What if the very first clue to a disease like Alzheimer's isn't found in what we forget, but in what we can no longer smell? It's an idea that's completely flipping the script on how we understand and maybe even detect these diseases.
So what is this forgotten warning sign? Well, it all comes down to something called olfactory dysfunction. And believe me, a huge body of research is now confirming that a decline in our sense of smell can be one of the absolute first signs that something is wrong.
Now, let's get one thing straight. We're not just talking about having a stuffed-up nose because you've got a cold. Nope. This is a persistent, long-term decline in your ability to smell things. It's like a direct window into the physical changes happening in the brain, right at the earliest stages of Alzheimer's.
And here's the part that is just truly mind-blowing. We're not talking about a warning that shows up a few months early. This signal can appear years, sometimes even a full decade, before those classic memory problems even begin to surface. A whole decade. Okay, so that's the what. But the really big question is why? Why on earth is our sense of smell such a powerful predictor? Well, it all comes down to the brain's architecture, its physical layout.
And the answer is surprisingly simple. It's all about location, location, location. Think about it like this. The parts of your brain that process smells and the parts that store memories, they aren't just in the same city. They are literally next-door neighbors sharing a wall.
Let's use an analogy here to make this really stick. Imagine Alzheimer's disease not as some sudden explosion, but more like a slow-burning fire that starts with just a tiny spark and then spreads.
So where do the very first sparks of that fire tend to appear? You guessed it, right in that shared neighborhood. The olfactory bulb, which is basically the reception desk for all smells, and the hippocampus, our brain's massive memory archive, are among the very first places to get hit. And that's why a problem with smell can literally be the first alarm bell for that fire.
So what this all means is that we have this incredible, built-in alert system that every single one of us carries around. It's like our own biological early warning system.
You've probably heard the saying, a canary in a coal mine, right? Miners used to take these birds underground because if dangerous gases were present, the canary would stop singing, giving the miners a warning to get out. Well, our sense of smell is basically that canary, warning us of danger long, long before it becomes obvious.
And if you need a hard number to really drive this home, here it is. Long-term studies have made this crystal clear. People who have a significant loss of smell, they have double the risk of developing dementia in the years that follow. Double. That is a number you just can't ignore. So just how good are these simple smell tests? Get this. They're shockingly accurate, about 80% effective at predicting the disease. Now compare that to a lumbar puncture, a spinal tap. It's invasive, it's expensive, it's complicated, and the simple, cheap sniff test is pretty much just as effective. That's a potential game changer.
Okay, so this sounds amazing, right? Does this mean we can just start using smell tests everywhere tomorrow to diagnose dementia? Well, hold on. We need to look at the whole picture here. It's not quite that simple.
So on the one hand, yes, the evidence is super strong, it's consistent, and the tool itself is cheap and totally non-invasive. But, and this is a big but, we have to be cautious. For one, there isn't a single universal standard for these tests yet. And, really crucially, while this shows a powerful link, it hasn't yet proven a direct cause and effect relationship.
This, of course, leads to the next huge, exciting question that researchers are asking. If losing our sense of smell is a sign that things are going wrong, could we maybe use our sense of smell to make things better? Could we actually go from just diagnosis to therapy, all through the nose?
It's this idea called olfactory training, and you can basically think of it as taking your brain to the gym. The idea is, by consistently smelling specific strong scents and really focusing on them, trying to identify them, you're exercising those neural pathways. The ultimate goal is to strengthen those connections and maybe even help the brain heal itself.
Now we have to pump the brakes just a little bit here. While this sounds incredibly promising, we're still in the very early days. Some small studies have hinted that this brain gym could work, which is very exciting, but the evidence isn't conclusive yet. We're going to need much bigger studies to know if this really works on a large scale.
And that really brings us full circle, back to the core idea of this whole explainer. The key takeaway, the one thing to remember is this. Losing your sense of smell is not a minor symptom. It's a sensory window that gives us this unique chance to see the very first changes happening inside the brain.
So the big question this leaves us with is a simple one. If that window into our brain is now open, are we ready to look through it?